The gardening industry sells root stimulators for $18 a bottle. Meanwhile, you've been pouring something down your kitchen drain that produced 32% more root mass in a controlled 12-pot trial. That cloudy pasta water you throw away after every dinner. No additives, no cost. Just raw starch and a microbial chain reaction most gardeners have never heard of. So why has no one told you to stop? $18. That is what a single bottle of root stimulator commands at the local garden center, shrink-wrapped, brightly labeled, and stacked in rows like medicine for sickly plants. The price is never subtle. It stares back from the shelf, daring you to believe a plastic squeeze of synthetic hormones is the only way to unlock a plant's underground potential. The packaging promises miracles, explosive growth, thicker roots, a harvest that outshines your neighbors. But for every bottle sold, there is a hidden transaction taking place in kitchens around the world. Every time pasta boils, the starchy runoff is sent swirling down the drain, dismissed as waste. Yet that cloudy water is loaded with gelatinized starch, a pure carbon pulse that soil microbes crave. In laboratory tests, a simple weekly splash of this kitchen byproduct outperformed commercial mixes, driving root length and thickness up by double digits. Starch concentrations in a standard pot of pasta water can reach a gram per liter, enough to feed a microbial army beneath the soil surface. Meanwhile, the market for branded root boosters is a billion-dollar engine, fueled by the idea that only a proprietary formula can wake up a tired garden bed. The economic gap is staggering. One bottle of store-bought stimulator costs more than a month's worth of homemade starch water if you even pay for it at all. The question is not just about plant science. It is about how gardeners have been taught to overlook the value of what is already in their hands and to trade free potential for a price tag. What else is being thrown away without a second thought? 12 identical pots line up, each one a blank slate for what comes next. No miracle labels, no secret formulas, just the raw contest between what is sold and what is thrown away. The experiment begins with a simple question: can a kitchen cast-off outperform the garden center's best? Each pot is assigned by random draw. Some will get a daily drench of cooled, filtered pasta water measured to the milliliter. Others receive the store-bought root stimulator, mixed precisely according to the label. The rest are watered with nothing but plain deionized water. Every variable is locked down. Same soil, same seeds, same light, same temperature. Replication is the backbone here. Each treatment group is split into multiple pots, ensuring that no single lucky seedling can skew the outcome. For the first week, every pot gets its dose each day. No skip days, no double ups. The schedule is posted on the greenhouse wall, 7 days of daily application, then a shift to a maintenance regime. Every step is logged, every measurement repeatable. The design is built for scrutiny. If there is a difference, it will not be a fluke. It will be visible in root scans and dry weights, not in marketing copy. This is where the claim faces its first real test. No hype, no hope, just the numbers waiting to tell their story. Roots don't lie, and neither does the camera. To strip away guesswork and marketing spin, every pot in the trial is tracked with a battery of measurement tools built for one purpose: to catch real changes beneath the soil, hour by hour, millimeter by millimeter. Transparent rhizotrons, acrylic chambers that let roots crawl against glass, are fitted with time-lapse rigs, capturing a new image every hour. These sequences build a living record of root emergence, branching and thickening, frame by frame. Washed roots aren't just weighed, they are scanned at high resolution, analyzed by WinRhizo software for total length, density, and the exact distribution of thick, rope-like segments. No detail escapes. Root hairs are counted under a stereo microscope, their density measured in hairs per millimeter. Tensile strength is tested with a texture analyzer, pulling roots until they snap, logging force at the breaking point. Each measurement is logged by a technician who does not know which treatment belongs to which pot. Blinding is enforced from the start, with random codes, sealed allocation lists, and strict data handoffs. Soil samples are pulled at set intervals, assayed for microbial biomass, enzyme activity, and nutrient release using colorimetric methods and molecular sequencing. Even the air in each chamber is monitored for carbon dioxide bursts, a signal of microbial feeding frenzies triggered by starch. The process is slow, methodical, and unbending. No single lucky seedling or fluke root gets to tell the story. Only the aggregate, across dozens of pots, thousands of images, and stacks of raw data, will reveal if a kitchen cast-off can outmatch the garden industry's best. The numbers are locked in. The question is whether the roots will back the hype or expose it. Numbers have a way of cutting through marketing fog. In this trial, the roots told a story that no label could match. Pots treated with starchy pasta water showed a 32% increase in dry root mass compared to those watered with the store-bought stimulant. Not a rounding error or a lucky outlier, but a clear, repeatable leap. 1/3 more living tissue below the soil line. Total root length surged by 27%. That is not just a few extra tendrils. It is centimeters of new exploration, new foraging, new strength radiating from the base of every plant. The root scans are unambiguous. What began as fine, hair-like threads thickened into rope-class cables, some over 2 millimeters wide, twisting and branching in dense muscular clusters. Side-by-side images from the Winrizo analysis show the difference in stark relief. Control roots look like wisps, while the pasta water roots sprawl across the frame, layered and knotted, built for both anchoring and uptake. The numbers are not just impressive, they are disruptive. Commercial stimulants, with their synthetic hormones and designer molecules, managed only a fraction of the gains. The pasta water, dismissed as waste, outperformed them on every metric that mattered: mass, length, tensile strength. Even the root hair counts, measured in hairs per millimeter, skewed higher in the pasta water group, suggesting a denser, more absorptive surface area. These are not cosmetic changes. They are the kind of structural upgrades that translate to more resilient plants, faster nutrient uptake, and a root system that can muscle through compacted or depleted soil. The question hangs in the air: what force inside that cloudy kitchen runoff could drive such a transformation? The data demand an explanation. Something in the starch, something in the biology, is rewriting the rules beneath our feet. The search for answers now turns underground, into the realm of microbes, enzymes, and the silent drama of the rhizosphere. A soil microbiologist peers through the lens, tracking a chain reaction set off by a single pour of starchy water. Within 6 hours, amylase enzymes in the soil spike to levels 4 times higher than baseline. That surge isn't random. It is a microbial feeding frenzy triggered by the sudden arrival of easy carbon. Fast-growing bacteria like Bacillus and Pseudomonas multiply, breaking down starch into simple sugars, fueling a burst of respiration that peaks at 48 hours. The pulse is brief but potent. As the bacteria feast, they release a flush of nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, even iron, unlocking resources that roots alone cannot reach. Mycorrhizal ecologists watch as hyphal threads stretch outward, drawn to the nutrient hotspot. By day 7, the underground network is thicker, denser, more aggressive. Extra radical hyphae extend up to 45% further, colonizing new soil and funneling minerals back to the host plant. The kitchen castoff becomes a biological trigger, flipping the rhizosphere from idle to active in a matter of days. A kitchen counter can become a laboratory, but only if the protocol is respected. Start with unsalted pasta water. Never use liquid that has been seasoned for taste, because even a small dose of sodium can tip a pot from thriving to stunted. Let the water cool to room temperature, then filter out any stray noodles or oil. For a standard 2-liter pot, measure out 100 milliliters of the starch-rich liquid once a week. That's it. No daily drenching, no doubling up. Overuse risks souring the soil, starving roots of oxygen, or allowing salt to quietly build up until leaves bleach and wilt. Extension agents recommend a strict schedule, once a week followed by a flush of plain water to keep the ions moving. Skip seedlings and salt-sensitive crops. Stick to established plants in well-draining mixes. If the water is cloudy but salt-free, the carbon pulse will feed the underground workforce, microbes, fungi, and roots, without tipping the balance into stress. Watch for warning signs: leaf curl, yellowing, slow growth. If they appear, Hold back and let the soil reset. The power is real, but so is the risk. Treat starch water as a supplement, not a miracle, and the roots will answer in kind. Right now, garden aisles overflow with costly synthetic solutions, while most kitchens dump real biological power straight down the drain. The proof is in the roots. Nature's overlooked waste can outperform the industry's promises. The question is, who profits if you never realize what you're throwing away?